Welcome to Around the ASUN. Around the ASUN is the newest podcast for the newest conference in FCS football. Now let's send it to your hosts, Will Seiler and Brandon Owens.
Welcome back. I'm on the wrong side. What is this? Anyway, welcome back, FCS Fans Nation, to one of the final episodes here of the year of Around the ASUN. I think we've got two more after this, but kind of
not including playoffs.
Yeah, not including playoffs, but we may not have a whole lot of schools to talk about in the playoffs.
We'll see what Kennesaw State does.
Yeah, we'll see. That might be a big South school anyway. Anyway, welcome back to Around the ASUN. This is like week 11 football season.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to think about. It was almost 3 months ago that we were doing, or over 3 months ago that we were doing like preview episodes. And, doing some research on, impact players and all that and trying to figure out how to do this podcast. So it has flown by, but we've had a good time doing it and hope everybody that listens has had a good time listening. So, man, if you're ready just to jump right in, I think let's just do it.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right. So just to recap week 10 here, Jacksonville State got a big one over Abilene Christian, 40-25. Austin P took care of Eastern Illinois 42-26. Kennesaw State beat Robert Morris, as we all expected they would, 45-21. And then the big game of the week was Eastern Kentucky and SFA, and SFA took care of business 31-17 over the Colonels there in Nacogdoches. And then North Alabama lost to Monmouth 45-33. Not a bad loss for the Lions. Monmouth's a good school, good team. And then UCA obviously defeated NAIA Texas Wesleyan 63-3. So not just a whole lot of huge results to talk about this week, but did you I know you were at the Jacksonville State game, right?
Mm-hmm. And I received some interesting news about 20 minutes before the game.
What is that?
That John Gross was going to be resigning after that game.
Yeah, I saw that was broke like right before the game. And then I saw his press conference after the game. I think that was probably more intriguing than the football game. Kind of felt bad for him.
I do too.
As much as everybody, harped on him and was ready to fire him, it's always hard to see somebody. I mean, he did the best he could, and he did well. He gave a lot of good football coaching to Jacksonville State, so it was kind of hard to see him get emotional like that. He took it seriously.
Yep.
And so, props to him. He'll find a good job. He's a good football coach.
Either at the FCS level or high school, probably.
I think he stays in college ball. I mean, he was at UAB before he came to Jacksonville State, right? He was there with...
No, he's only been at Jack State. He came from Oxford High School.
Where did I get UAB from? Did he coach with the guy from UAB?
Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator when Bill Clark was the head coach.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, he's had success at the college level. I don't know why he'd try and leave unless he really just likes high school football. But wish all the best to Coach Gross. I know a lot of people were on him, but all the best to him. So Austin P took care of Eastern Illinois. Talked about that. They looked better than Eastern Illinois. They were the better team. Looked, kind of what we thought they were at the beginning of the year. Well,
when you're playing Eastern Illinois, it's kind of hard not to look like the opposite team.
That's fair. The fighting Jimmy G's didn't get it done. So Kennesaw State, like I said, took care of Robert Morris. No surprise there. A lot of rushing yards there from Kennesaw. But they've got a little bit of a passing attack coming along. think they're throwing the ball like 8 times a game now, maybe.
Ooh,
I know,
kind
dude,
of a
it's
step
pretty,
up,
yeah, Mike Leach is rubbing off on him a little bit.
just a little bit.
He got closer when he came to Mississippi, and he just kind of like diffused through the air and there into Georgia, and so they're throwing the ball a little bit more. Like we said, Eastern Kentucky SFA, and what I say wasn't really a dogfight. SFA was pretty much ahead the whole game, but it was still a good game, only a 14-point game. And like I said, it was in Nacogdoches, so no surprise that they won. That's who I expected. I expected SFA probably to win. I think they were a little more talented. But that kind of shakes up the playoff.
I was about to say, can we just go ahead and say congratulations to Sam Houston?
Yep,
Sam getting Houston. The lone playoff bid.
You're gonna get the one playoff bid from the AQ7, and unless SFA can win out, chances are that's the only one. So
yeah, and the next 4 teams, y'all screwed it up. So
yep, a lot of beating up on each other took place. So if UCA beats SFA this week, it'll be the 3-way triangle that we talked about before the season started, except it'll be for second place, and it'll be between 3 teams that we didn't expect it to be between.
Yeah.
It'll be between UCA, Eastern Kentucky, and SFA. So, but, props to SFA. Colby Carthel's got something brewing down there in Nacogdoches. They play well at home. I want to say their home win streak right now is like 8 games, something like that. Now, I think like 4 of those are D2 games dating back to last year. But, 8-game win streak is an 8-game win streak. So they're playing good there at home. North Alabama over lost to Monmouth. Kind of disappointing. I was hoping North Alabama would get maybe a season-defining win, signature win. They did not. But like we said earlier, Monmouth's a good team. They're somebody that people were throwing in their top 10 preseason.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Monmouth moves forward, because people are still thinking, like, there's some people that still think they will beat Kennesaw at the end of the season. And in what, a week now?
Yeah, not this week, but next week.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But that game is definitely going to determine who gets a bid and who doesn't. Although if Monmouth wins, it's kind of hard to exclude Kennesaw.
Yeah, if Monmouth wins, the Big South will be a 2-bid league. You'll see Kennesaw get in at large because they'd be 9-2. It's hard to leave them out with. I know they don't have any huge wins, but you win 9 games and they're all Division, or I guess 8 are Division I wins.
Well, Southland had McNeese a few years ago that was 9-2, and they didn't get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
but how many D2 teams did they play that year?
I don't know. They didn't play 3. I know they might have played 1 or 2, but I think Kennesaw at 9-2 gets in.
Yeah, especially when you've only played like Georgia Tech, and that game's really not going to count. So your record's basically going to be 9-1.
Right, you're going to be 8-1 against the FCS.
8-1, yeah,
it's pretty good. So I think they'd be fine even if they lost that game, but they do have to win this week. So and they do play North Alabama. So North Alabama's not they're a trap game, I think, for a lot of people. They if they can just get it together and beat Kennesaw, I think they could. But I don't think they will, but I think they could. Then finally, UCA beat Texas Wesleyan by 60.
How many yards of offense did y'all have?
Well, let me just preface it with this. At halftime, we had 538, and they had 56. So we scored on our first drive. Then their first play from scrimmage, they threw an interception, and we scored, I think, with 14:02 left in the first quarter. We were up 14-0, I think. So it was interesting. That I love that we won by 60, but I hate that we played down so far. We play. No, don't get me wrong. They're a good NAIA team. They were top 25 NAIA team, but they're an NAIA team. They're not even Division II.
Right. I mean, that's like the same argument some people were using for Reinhardt against
Yeah.
Kennesaw.
Yeah, and it just sucks because it kills our strength of schedule, or not necessarily strength of schedule. I mean, it does, but it kills our schedule in general because now 7-4 is not going to get us in the playoffs if we were to win out these last 2 weeks. And so it is what it is. I know when we lost all the Southland games, when we changed conferences, we had to fill the void somehow, and a lot of times there's not teams available. But man, looking over on their sideline, they did not have very many players. It was like, you're looking at UCA, who we were at home, so we had 85 players dressed, and you look over on their sideline, I bet they were dressing like 50. I mean, it was low, and I mean, it was one of those things where it was like when they had somebody get injured, you were like, crap, like, who's going to come in for them?
Right.
But we got to see some third stringers play a little bit, got to see some freshmen play. So that was neat. Got to rest the starters after the second quarter. So that was fun, I guess. It was a little boring. It was homecoming and people were leaving and like midway through the second quarter because it's 42-0. It was 49-0 at halftime. Like, I mean, you'd seen all the
I would have left too.
Yeah, I mean, I had to drive an hour home, and so I was like, well, shoot, I'm going to stay. I want to see Chandler after the game, our roommate. He's a kicker, or ex-roommate. Not ex-roommate, former roommate?
Something like, yeah.
Former roommate, yeah. He's a kicker, and so I was going to see him after the game. We were going to go eat, and so I was like, can't leave, so I just got to watch this bloodbath continue. But no, it was bad. So not necessarily a fan of NAI scheduled games. But just to move on here as we go through the agenda for the day, the stats poll came out Monday, and we had 4 teams from the AQ7 and the ASUN combined receiving votes and or ranked. Only 2 that were actually ranked, Sam Houston and Kennesaw at 1 and 10. And then SFA and Eastern Kentucky both receiving votes. And if you head over to the coaches poll, you do get UCA receiving votes as well, as they got back over 500. And then the AQ7 power poll had a little bit of shakeup this week. The SFA win catapulted them, or actually, no, they stayed in second, but Eastern losing to SFA catapulted them into third. So they their loss was just really impressive, I guess. I don't know. It's like the college football playoff committee. It's like they've just got more impressive losses. But anyway,
I think people are starting to like rank them according to like who beat who.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Abilene beat Lamar. Jacksonville State beat Abilene. UCA beat Jacksonville State. Eastern beat UCA. SFA beat Eastern. Sam beat SFA. So yeah, I mean, it goes all the way down, but then there's some like, things in between, like Jacksonville State beat SFA. I mean, there's some conflict, I guess. That's actually what I named the poll this week, was power poll conflict, because I had some internal conflict with it. Whatever. It's not how I voted. I voted UCA at third still, because I still think UCA is a better team than Eastern Kentucky. I think we pissed that one away in the second half. But that's just how I voted. Everything else was the same. I had 3 and 4 switched.
Well, we'll see how this shapes up. JSU might still I hate to say it because it doesn't make sense, but JSU still might end up third with a 6-5 record.
No, there's no way. I mean, I know you beat SFA, but you got outplayed. I guess you still play Eastern, whatever. I just don't think there's any way that UCA ends up below Jacksonville State.
No.
I mean, okay. So you're saying UCA can finish second?
Yes.
If UCA beats SFA this weekend, I will vote them a second. I absolutely will. But we'll see. SFA is a good team. Got some good players. Talk about that in a minute. So what was your poll this week? How'd you vote?
Exactly this.
God, so you just loved Eastern Kentucky's law. Well, you voted UCA fourth last week.
I had EKU at third. Or okay. I had EKU at second, so I swapped SFA and EKU.
Okay, so not much changed other than that one game.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I can deal with that. And power poll rankings. I mean, I guess they don't mean a lot, do they? Nobody's paying attention to this power poll that we put out every week.
No, but it's fun.
It is fun. When I say nobody's paying attention to it, the people that watch this podcast, surely they're paying attention to it because it is it's a massive deal every week. Moving on, we've got some good Week 11 games to talk about, and then some good topics to talk about after. So we're just going to move right along here. We'll try and push through these pretty quick. Kennesaw State, North Alabama this weekend at 2 on ESPN Plus. And I like Kennesaw State to win it, but I would love North Alabama to keep it close and put a little bit of scare. I don't necessarily want them to win because I want Kennesaw to maintain that. They're pushing up towards a seed a little bit.
Yeah.
If they win out, they could easily pop up into those top 8 seeds. Whether you think they deserve it or not, they could get there. So I don't necessarily want North Alabama to win, but now that I'm picking Kennesaw, I guess they probably will.
Yeah. I'm actually, as much as I don't want to, I'm actually picking UNA because it is at home.
He's picking Tuna.
Even though it pains me to do this. Even though Kennesaw is the better team, I would love to see the Lions take down the Owls at home.
That would be.
Since we couldn't do it at Kennesaw. So, little brother, please make us proud.
Little brother. It's about to be big brother. Just kidding. Just kidding. You're moving up to FBS. Sorry. Don't stone me. Sorry. I forgot you were superior to this football championship series. I got all the jokes.
Yes, you do. And I don't like them.
All the jokes. Moving on down the line, Austin Peay and Tennessee State. I've watched Tennessee State a little bit, and I've seen Austin Peay play. If Austin Peay plays the way they should, I have no issue picking the Govs here.
Yeah, I'll go with the Govs. But I really do like Tennessee State in this. So
do you?
Mm-hmm. It wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee State wins this game.
Tennessee State, every time I watch them, they just look really, really, really sloppy. It's like, they've got some talent on the field, but then they don't play in a organized fashion, I guess. And that kind of drives me away from picking them. So I'm gonna go with Austin Peay.
That's the reason I picked Austin Peay.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if this was one of even though Austin Peay is not top of the OVC, it wouldn't surprise me if this is one of Austin Peay's games that they lose that they shouldn't.
Yeah, I can. It could definitely be a trap game for them, I guess, if you want to call it that. I don't know if 500 sub 500 teams have trap games, but they might. I guess decent teams have trap games, and they're a decent team.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Moving down the line, Jacksonville State at Lamar. Having to make the long trip to. Actually, it's really not that long of a trip to Beaumont. You just got to go across Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Beaumont's on the east side.
Found out Frisco isn't very far from here.
Really?
It's about 9 hours ish.
Frisco's not super far away. The Frisco Bowl's not very far away. That's probably the highest Jacksonville State's ever going to get. In their move to being irrelevant in the FBS.
I'll laugh when UCA moves up.
I can make the jokes because I'm pretty confident that we're not doing that anytime soon. I'm going to go with Jacksonville State here because Lamar is terrible.
Yeah, there's no discussion.
But let me just say this. We ran the ball really effectively against Jacksonville State, which, granted, we run the ball pretty effectively. We have all year. Lamar runs that little triple option deal that it's not necessarily like, the Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State triple option. It's more of like a spread option, and they're going to throw it a little more. But I'm just saying, had some trouble with it against Kennesaw. Now, Lamar is not Kennesaw State, but maybe something to watch, but probably not.
I will spot Lamar 14 points. I will give them 14 points.
Can the anemic Jacksonville State offense score 20 points, 15 points? Yes, they can. So I'm gonna go with the Gamecocks.
Oh, Gamecocks in a big one.
Man, this probably would have been my game of the week if Eastern Kentucky had not lost last week.
I know.
This would have been for the AQ7 auto bid, but instead it is not. Congrats, Sam Houston. I think you pretty much wrapped that up.
They got to win this week, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't really have a doubt that they will.
I'd love for EKU to go into Huntsville and mess things up.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love for Sam Houston to get beat after they announce that they're going up to the FBS. Just get, popped by a team that's staying back. It'd be kind of nice. Send them out the door.
Well, apparently they're playing the next team up for the Conference USA.
Do what now?
Apparently they're playing the team that whenever Conference USA adds teams again, apparently EKU is one of those teams.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well, we maybe this is a future conference game. Who knows? But
maybe.
At Bowers, I'm going to say no issues for the Gamecocks or for the Bearcats. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm picking Sam Houston. I hate saying that because I want EKU to win, but I got to go with the game with the Bearcats.
Quick mascot here. Quick quiz.
Okay.
We're going to take it to the FBS.
Okay.
Bowling Green.
Falcons.
Okay, that's pretty good. Always, I did know they were the Falcons. Fun fact, I was informing my girlfriend earlier of different mascots and how the state of Ohio has 8 FBS teams inside.
That's crazy.
Of a small state.
Yeah.
I was trying to name them all, and you forget like half the MAC is in the state of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. Can you name them all?
Miami of Ohio, Akron, Bowling Green. No, Ball State is in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo's in New York.
Mm-hmm. You're only missing one. And
I know. Toledo.
There you go. So, yeah. Are you missing another one? Because you got Ohio State and Cincinnati, obviously.
Oh, no memento. We've got to make an episode of this.
This has nothing to do with the ASUN. This is
Kent State.
Yeah, Kent State. That was one of the ones that
everybody forgets Kent State for some
I
reason.
grew up thinking Kent State was Kentucky State University.
I did too.
Now, granted, my dad informed me that it was Kent State in Ohio when I was like 8, but
yeah,
because I was like, oh, they're playing Kentucky State, and Dad was like, no, they're not. I was like, yeah, they are. They're playing Kentucky State, and then he was like, Will, that's not Kentucky State. But moving on, game of the week in a conference that is better than the MAC, the ASUN, which is actually, it's not even in the ASUN, it is in the AQ7, and it is my dear UCA Bears against the Revs, Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks. This is going to be a good game. You've got 2 incredibly talented teams, some really good offenses playing each other, 2 quarterbacks that are going to duel it out, 2 top 10 receivers in the FCS that are going to go head to head. This is going to be a doozy on the stripes Saturday afternoon, and I am looking forward to it. I want to hear your thoughts on it before I just, start in.
I mean, SFA is going to come ready to play. UCA always comes ready to play. I think the biggest factor is going to be UCA's running game. Because as you saw against Jacksonville State, we stopped the run.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if UCA can take advantage of that and get their running game going against SFA, they won't have any issues against them.
Well, I hope so. We've run the ball effectively for the first time in probably 3 years this year. Got a really good tandem backfield, really trifecta in the backfield with Kylan James, Tristan Smith, and Darius Hale. So, and we'll talk about Darius a little bit more here in a second. But no, I agree. I think if we can run the ball well, I think we'll be able to throw the ball. We've been able to throw the ball all year pretty much. It's just been a matter of how much do we have to throw it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know that the run game is necessarily the biggest deal. I think UCA's defense is the biggest deal. I think we've got to come out. We got to play 2 full halves on both sides of the ball, but especially on defense. If we play well in the first half, we have to, adjust one move ahead of Stephen F. Austin at halftime, because if there's, I cannot stand Colby Carthel. It's like Jamie hates Casey Keeler. I can't stand Colby Carthel. He gets under my skin and he irks me the way he carries himself. But I will say this: he's a good coach. He adjusts well. He's going to scheme you up at halftime. So we got to make sure that we stay one move ahead of that guy. But I think we'll get it done this week. I really do. I think UCA's playing loose right now, but not so loose that we're playing sloppy, but we're not playing tight like we're trying to, how some teams start to play tight when they're, really on edge of a playoff bid.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we kind of know, hey, this is probably, all we can do now is win. And, if we win out, then it's no longer in our hands. But we gotta keep winning. And so I think that they're starting to play with some pride on the line. And so I think you're seeing the guys step up here, especially with a senior laden team. So I'm gonna go with UCA. I think on the Stripes. Stripes are slippery, not as slippery as they were in the past, but it's hard to play on them, and so I'm gonna roll with the Bears this week.
Yeah, I got UCA winning this one as well, and a close one.
I think it'd be a very close game. I think this could be one of those games that everybody needs to be tuning into on ESPN Plus at 4 p.m. Central Time. And I mean, if you've never seen a game on the Stripes, you might as well tune in so you can see it. Moving on, though, we like to talk about playoff outlook. We kind of alluded to it. Probably a one-bid league. SFA still has an outside chance if they were to win this week and then win the week after, could possibly get in. But if they lose again, it is OV for them. So congrats to Sam Houston. You're going to get a bid, but that's probably going to be the only one unless SFA wins out. So I think it's pretty simple at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So not a big playoff episode here. But what there is left to talk about is postseason awards. And let's see here. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Postseason awards that Stats gives out every year. If you're not familiar, you've got the Buck Buchanan Award. You got the Walter Peyton Award going out to the best offensive player. That is what is behind me and Brandon on the screen right now, given out every year to the best offensive player in the FCS, as well as the Jerry Rice Award, which goes to the best freshman in the FCS. So we have got, a little bit of a list of ASUN players that we think might be in contention for some of these awards, and then some that were maybe in contention earlier in the year that are no longer probably a factor. So, man, if you're good, let's just start with the big one. Let's start with the Peyton Award.
All right, I'm good.
All right, so obviously had some names added to the list this week. Actually, was that today or was that yesterday? I don't remember. All my days are running together.
Yeah, we're at the end of the semester. Everything's running together.
But Xavier Shepard from Kennesaw State was added to this list. And if I can get back over to, oh, that's not what I meant to do. There's what I meant to do. Get back over to some stats here. Xavier Shepherd let's see, he is tied for 5th in the country in rushing touchdowns there with 12, and he is a quarterback. So that is impressive. Doesn't throw the ball a whole lot. You look at rushing yards, not super. He's got like 700 almost, which obviously he runs the ball a lot in the offense that they run. But no, pretty impressive from a quarterback, and I think he is. I don't necessarily think he's going to be a finalist for it, but props to him for being on the watch list. What do you think?
Yeah, I got to see him play in at the beginning of October when we played at Kennesaw State. Dude is an absolute monster. Now, granted, JSU played absolutely horrible that day. But dude is a monster. He can run. I don't remember Kennesaw passing a whole lot. I mean, I remember them running more than passing. So, dude can run.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a stud. So, and he is a junior, so maybe we'll see him next year and maybe even make more of a push for the Peyton Award. Unfortunately, I think the Peyton Award's probably a two-man race right now. Between Cole Kelly, who is actually on this list. I mean, he's tied with Cole Kelly for rushing touchdowns. And then you look at Cole Kelly's passing stats. It's like, okay, well, he's a two-headed monster. So that's, it's a little unfortunate. But props to him. He's had a great season. Heck of a player. He was one in our preview episode. I believe he was your player to watch from Kennesaw State. So that was definitely a good choice there preseason from you. So props to you. So we will move on down the line. Somebody that was on the list early in the year, before the year, preseason watch list, and is still on the watch list. Will probably be a finalist. Was a finalist last year, and that is Tyler Hudson coming from Central Arkansas. So roll on over here to receiving yards. Get past Dennis Houston from Western Illinois. Go 9 yards back, and Tyler Hudson's there in second place. So Tyler Hudson, man, he is a different freaking breed.
Yeah, he is. He was another one of my picks in the preseason.
Yeah, he's a dog. I mean, that guy. He broke the UCA career receiving yard record last Saturday against Texas Wesleyan, and this dude is a sophomore. Now, it is his third year, I'll give you that, but still, he's a sophomore. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. This guy's going to be around. He's going to extend that record, and he was at 2,900 when he broke it. And 1152 of those came from this year. So he is having a monster season. But you go down to 10, and there's another receiver from UCA, Lawan Winningham, sitting right there at 840. And he has been a little quieter the past few games. He's had a couple games this year where he's been kind of the go-to guy, but Tyler's just had a few more of those. And so, props to those two guys for being two of the best receivers in FCS on the same team. That's hard to do. It's hard for an individual to be on the same team as somebody that's as good or better than them. And so those two dudes do it the correct way. They only want to see each other succeed. So I really like watching those guys play. But so shout out to Lawan. But Tyler, man, he's going to be a finalist this year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be a finalist. Probably only a finalist because this has kind of turned into a quarterback award, unless you're Cooper Kupp. And
yeah,
which I think Tyler Hudson is just, watching him play, he's very Cooper Kupp-ish.
Yeah. How many years does Lawan have left?
Lawan could take one more if he wanted it. He came in my signing class and redshirted the same year I did, and then obviously we got our COVID year as well. So he could play one more year after this if he wanted to. But he has already graduated. He actually graduated last May, so he's working on his master's, I believe. I would love to see him stick around. I think he could. I think either one of these guys could be flip flops 2-10.
Yeah, if he comes back next year, I mean, assuming he's going to finish his grad degree before he goes into the draft, I mean, if he comes back next year, these two will definitely be in the top 5 next year.
No doubt. I think they would both probably be on the preseason Peyton Award watch list.
Yep.
So now it's not every day you see 2 receivers in the top 10 in receiving yards. So props to those guys. And hopefully we'll be seeing Tyler on the finalist list come, I guess.
Can
later.
we skip the next guy?
Yeah.
Can we skip the next guy, please?
Next guy on the list is actually Zurich Cooper. And, preseason, high hopes. Is going to take his team to
preseason. I want to believe they named him in the order that they thought they were going to finish, and Zurich Cooper was top 5.
Yeah, I mean, he was a lot of expectations, a lot of lofty expectations that he has not necessarily lived up to this year. In passing yards, did we say? Yeah, he was 50th with 1642.
Still not bad, but
no, but not good.
No, definitely not good.
Not what we thought.
No.
I'll say that. I do want to give Braylon Smith, quarterback from UCA, a shout out here. 2,700 yards this year, which is, good for 6th in the country, which, is well behind 5th because everybody in 5th has over 3,400, or everybody 5 and up has 3,400 or more. Which, I mean, I don't think Ren Heffley, I don't think Presbyterian runs the football. I don't think Western Illinois runs the football. Southeastern
I was about to say, when you have definitely 3 teams that do nothing but pass the ball.
Right. We'll talk. It's impressive that Braylon has 2,700 yards as a quarterback at UCA because we have run the ball a lot this year. Darius Hale, we'll talk about here in a second when we get to the Jerry Rice Award, is 10th in the country in rushing yards, and he is, first in the country in rushing touchdowns. So for Braylon to be 6th in the country in passing yards on a team that also has a top 10 national rusher is really, really respectable. Because, you take that away, if he's, having to throw the ball, 50 times a game, who knows what that number is.
And Braylon has at least 1 year left.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, this would, if he takes it, it would be his 7th year. He actually came in the year before me. Yeah, this is his 6th year. So, because he had a redshirt year, an injury redshirt year, and a COVID year. So, we'll see if he takes it. He's been there a long time. Would love to see him come back. He's a do-it-all kind of guy. Big-time leader. Has been for a long time. I mean, he's been starting since 2018. He had an injury in 2018 where he missed the last half of the season, but he's been the starting quarterback since 2018. So we'll see if he comes back. Would love to see him do that because I think he didn't break the record for most passing yards. I don't think. Maybe he did. He passed Coach Brown. Yeah, so I guess he did because Coach Brown was the leader in career passing yards. So he was passing his ball coach. So pretty impressive there on Braylon's part. So we'll shout out to him. We'll hopefully see him maybe on the finalist list. Just throwing
that
a bone.
Trio next year is going to be dangerous.
I'm telling you, man, it's actually a quartet. If they all,
well, we'll get to him in a minute, but definitely this trio, the Lawan, Tyler, and Braylon, that trio is going to be dangerous next year.
Would love to see them all be back. Would absolutely love to see it. Braylon has got a heck of an arm, man. I don't know if you saw the video of the 93-yard touchdown pass that he had to T. Huddy this weekend. It was, that was a strong throw. I mean,
He was letting it fly at Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah, and it was raining. That was one of his better games against Jacksonville State, even in the rain. So, no, heck of a player. So maybe we'll see him on the finalist list come later this month. So, but let's see. Let's move on out of the Peyton Award and down to the Jerry Rice Award, which, if you're not familiar, goes out to the best freshman in the country. And this year it's a little different. Anybody that played in the spring would not be eligible if they played through their red shirt. So if they played 4 games or more. There's really only one guy that I wanted to highlight, and call me a homer, but Darius Hale. Holy smokes. This dude came in as, he was highly touted, highly recruited, had an offer from Baylor, had an offer from Houston from his junior year, actually. And then we got him at UCA. This dude has hit the ground running and never looked back. 16 rushing touchdowns.
No pun intended.
Yes, sir. I didn't even mean to. Just a punny guy. Anyway, no, seriously, this guy is an absolute stud. He 16 rushing touchdowns on the year, good for first in the country, ahead of Dennis Merritt, ahead of Pierre Strong, who is going to be a finalist for the Peyton Award. I know this is an award that a lot of people are going to want to give to Shadur Sanders from Jackson State, and that might be the sexy pick. But dude, Darius Hale is the real freaking deal. And everybody likes to say that UCA likes to throw the ball around, but 16 rushing touchdowns, and you might say, oh, well, did they all come on the goal line? No, they didn't. If you go to rushing yards, I could get on my soapbox forever about this kid. He's a stud. 10th in the country in rushing yards, which, when you talk about that coming from UCA, that's a big deal. And, he's the only freshman in the top, 10? Yeah, Kevin Daniels from Northern Arizona at 13. So he's going to go over 1,000 yards probably for the year. He's got to get 143 more to do it. I have no doubt he'll hit that number in the next 2 weeks. So this guy's going to be 1,000-yard rusher his freshman year, going to lead the country in touchdowns, possibly. And then in total touchdowns, I guess he's tied with Dennis Merritt from Eastern Washington because he has a couple of receiving touchdowns. But then in scoring in the country, he's second behind Ethan Ratke from James Madison. So, props to the kicker for being the best or the highest scoring player in the country. But this dude is the real deal. He's a power runner, but at the same time, I've seen him, juke safeties out in space and then outrun corners. This dude is the real deal. He had a game against Jacksonville State, which I think you got to see.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, he
we
rushed
couldn't stop him.
No, he rushed for 250 against Lamar, which, whatever, it's Lamar. But at the same time, it's hard to rush for 253 yards. This dude's the real deal. So if you were listening to this and you were on the committee that votes for these awards, give Darius Hale a look because you're going to be hearing his name for a long time. And, Pierre Strong kind of burst onto the scene that way. I'm not sure Darius Hale's not the next Pierre Strong, which I don't know how Pierre Strong got to South Dakota. He's from Little Rock. He could have gone.
Okay.
He could have gone 20 minutes up the road and gone to UCA. I think his running back coach at South Dakota State has some Arkansas ties, so I think that's actually how he got there. But I don't know. But if not having Pierre Strong is how we got Darius Hale, then you know what? I'm okay with it because this dude is the next Pierre Strong. He's a stud. So any other freshmen you want to talk about for the Jerry Rice Award? That was the only one I had on my list.
Not really. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. Like I'm trying to think of freshmen that we have on our team, and the only one that I can think of is Matthew Caldwell. and even then, he's a redshirt freshman.
I went searching. I searched pretty hard for some freshmen. I didn't find a whole lot. So,
But even then, like Matthew Caldwell didn't really play very many games.
yeah. So I mean, I think the more I looked at it, which maybe some confirmation bias here and some recency bias, availability bias, whatever you want to call it. I've seen Darius Hale play a lot. I've seen Shadur Sanders play a lot. He throws the ball well, but I don't know. Darius Hale has been that impressive, and I think he is absolutely the Jerry Rice Award favorite. I think it comes down to those two. And if you were watching this is the guy. Vote for Darius Hale. Like, number 4 running back, UCA, vote for him. I'm passionate about him winning the Jerry Rice. Good kid too. Super respectful, good kid. So would love to see him get that recognition.
Dang, if the first 3 from that we talked about return, plus Darius Hale, oh my God, UCA's offense is about to be on fire next year.
We already are. Look at this. Okay. Oh God, why do I keep doing that? If we roll over to let's see, scoring offense.
I think you passed it.
Oh yeah, sorry, I don't know my. Oh, that's individual. What am I doing? Scoring offense. We're sitting at 5th in the country. I mean, and that's with a freshman running back. We've had a O-line by committee. It's like, we're plugging and chugging. It's like an NFL O-line where, you're playing tackle one week and center the next, which actually we've had a very consistent center. But, I mean, obviously Eastern and Southeastern are the two, grandfathers of offense right now. But you look at who's up in that top 10, and it's just hard to believe that UCA is barely over 500. It's just insane. UCA could be a force to be reckoned with if all 4 of those players came back next year. I sure hope so.
Yeah, just work on your defense.
It's getting better. It's getting a lot better. There's been some bright spots too. I mean, holy smokes. In the second half of the Sam Houston game, we gave up 10 points. Or no, 14. Sorry, we gave up 14, 2 touchdowns. We've had some really good first halves, had some really good second halves. We've had a couple good whole games. Obviously against Jacksonville State, we had a great entire game. A lot of forced a lot of turnovers. So I think they're starting to figure it out a little bit, getting the new system under their belt. Obviously that's hard. A lot of those guys are playing under their 3rd defensive coordinator in 5 years. So I guess that is to be expected, but I think Kitch will be around for a long time and take them where we want to go. So,
but I will say if things start clicking on the defense for in the off season, FCS Nation, you better watch out for Central Arkansas.
I agree. And call me a homer, but I really do agree. I really think that we have
even my new team, I wouldn't want to go up against Central Arkansas next year.
I'm just saying we could get an FBS win next year.
I said my new FCS team.
Oh my gosh. Oh, pet peeve here. Everybody that was like, "Oh, I'm going to get a new FCS team." I didn't see anybody. I guess you put Kennesaw, I think, and UNA maybe on your list, but everybody else was like, "Oh, who am I going to be a fan of? North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Eastern Washington, all these blue bloods." And I was like, "Oh, come on. Put somebody interesting on there. Be a fan of the Campbell Camels." If I was gonna pick a new FCS team, I think it'd be the Campbell Camels.
Well, even then, on that Twitter feed, I had 4 other teams listed, and I counted them. But on Twitter, you can't include more than 4.
Yeah,
which I hate. But
I would I'd have to pick somebody that is not expected to be in the national championship. I don't know.
So UNA.
Yeah. Yes. North Alabama. Or pick
That's all
somebody that's got like the tools in place to take the next step. Like UCA is a team that just hasn't, gone that extra the extra couple rounds in the playoffs. Like but absolutely have the capability to do so. Like, come on. UCA, it's a great place. You get to have colored turf.
You get that at Eastern Washington too.
Yeah, and it hurts your eyes.
Eh.
It like burns your retinas, like millions of lumens, like reflecting off of, even on the TV. Like your screen's gonna fry.
You forget that I had a red uniform in college.
Whatever. You didn't have to stare at it as the whole TV screen for 3 hours at a time.
It hung up in front of my bed.
Did you
Of course,
stare
I
at
had
it?
to stare at it.
You stared at it? Okay. I don't stare
I
at my
had
clothes.
to.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we appreciate you listening in here in this late football season episode of Around the ASUN. Listening to a little bit of a soapbox there at the end. But we hope you enjoyed it. We are an affiliate of the FCS Fans Nation Network, and so if you're watching this, it's on YouTube, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. When people go live and or post a video, you will always know, and so make sure you're doing that. There's going to be some good episodes coming out here later as the season goes on. So make sure you do that. If you haven't joined FCS Fans Nation on Facebook, make sure you do that. I think we're over 9,600 members now. So after the mass exodus of Jacksonville State fans, which
We ain't going anywhere. We're staying on that page.
no, I'm kicking them all out. I'm gonna request admin access just to remove former FCS fans. But anyway, so 9,600 members strong, which is huge. Probably the biggest community of FCS fans anywhere on the interwebs. So make sure you're joining that. A lot of good community there. So like I said, hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week and really start to see what the playoffs are going to shape up like. So have a great night, Brandon. Have a great night, everybody else. And we'll see you next week. Love that intro and outro music. It is so good. It's just, it's a headbanger.